Britain is ready to help Poland deliver heavy weapons to Ukraine, according to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. London is studying the possibility of sending tanks to Poland, while Warsaw is in turn supplying Kiev with T-72 tanks, Johnson said on a visit to India on Friday. The T-72 main battle tank was developed in the Soviet Union and is in the stocks of some Eastern European NATO countries. Similar aid for Eastern European partners that supply heavy weapons to Ukraine was also announced by Germany this week. According to information from Berlin government circles on Thursday, Germany is currently planning a ring exchange for tanks with Slovenia. The NATO ally is to deliver T-72 main battle tanks to Kiev. In return, the Slovenian army is to receive the Marder infantry fighting vehicle and the Fuchs wheeled tank from Germany. According to Johnson, a quick end to the Ukraine war is not in sight. When asked on Friday whether he also feared that the hostilities could drag on until the end of next year, according to recently released intelligence estimates, he said, "Sadly, that's a realistic possibility." Russian President Vladimir Putin made a catastrophic mistake in attacking Ukraine, Johnson said. The only option the Kremlin boss now has is to continue his appalling strategy of attrition. And Great Britain will move its embassy in Ukraine back to the capital Kiev next week. I can announce today that very soon next week we will reopen our embassy in the Ukrainian capital, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Friday during his visit to New Delhi. And Foreign Minister Liz Truss said in London that the move was possible because of the extraordinary bravery and success of Ukraine's resistance to Russian forces. At the beginning of the week, Italy and Spain announced their return to Kiev, followed by Turkey and France. Numerous countries, including Germany, had withdrawn their embassy staff from Kiev. Many diplomats are in Lviv in western Ukraine, where the British embassy was also relocated in February. According to estimates by Great Britain and the USA, the Russian troops in eastern Ukraine have not made any significant gains in territory in recent days, despite heavy artillery and air raids. The British Ministry of Defence said in London that the invaders were still suffering from their losses at the start of the war. Exhausted troops would have to be replaced and useless war equipment repaired. According to the US Department of Defense, Ukrainian units have stopped an attempt by Russian troops to push further south near the city of Izium. The situation in Mariupol is unclear. Ukrainian President Zelensky contradicted statements by the Russian head of state Putin, according to which the city on the Azov Sea has been completely conquered. Mariupol continues to resist, Zelensky said. German Chancellor Scholz called for a ceasefire and the withdrawal of Russian troops. In an interview with the German news magazine Spiegel, Scholz said that a peace agreement must make it possible for Ukraine to defend itself. At the same time, the Chancellor defended Germany's position on arms deliveries. For him, the requirement remains that NATO does not become a party to the war. That's what Scholz emphasized. Nevertheless, Germany would continue to supply weapons to Ukraine. The Bundeswehr's options for supplying additional weapons from its arsenal have largely been exhausted. "We will definitely deliver what can still be made available," said the Social Democratic politician. Scholz mentioned anti-tank weapons, anti-tank mines, and artillery ammunition. In addition, a list of military equipment has been drawn up with German industry that can be delivered quickly. The Ukrainian side knows about it, but Scholz shortened the list so much that there's nothing left they need. But Scholz again rejected the accusation that he was too hesitant on the issue of arms deliveries. Germany has made a profound change of course by supplying weapons to this war zone, he says. Many who previously would have categorically rejected the step are now outdoing each other with demands to deliver much more, without knowing the exact situation. But the problem is, and listen carefully, especially those ones who don't watch my other channels and say I always criticize the British government. Our government here in Germany that we have since November has ruined our international reputation faster than I've ever seen that before. I think in that regard, Scholz was even faster than Johnson. And about that list, they gave a list to the Ukrainians. The specialists made this list, as far as I know. And then the government shortened that list and took off everything off that list they don't want to give to Ukraine. And all that's left is what they handed over to the Ukraine is what all stuff they have no real use for. And at the moment, the German company that's building them has handed over a request for permission to deliver 100 Marder vehicles to Ukraine. And I'm really curious how the government will react to that request. They can easily agree to it. It's not from the arsenal of the Bundeswehr, it's not missing from the Bundeswehr, and of course it will take some time and some people have to be trained, but there is no reason to say no to that one. And the Ukraine is not the attacker here. Our government seems to have forgotten, and I have to differ there, I must say. The Social Democratic Party in that government has forgotten, obviously, that Russia is the aggressor. And they are still hesitant like hell because of their history with Russia and their closeness to Russia. The Prime Minister of Mecklenburg-Pomerania is completely under fire because of Nord Stream 2 and some things that happen in regard to this, and calls for resignations are everywhere at the moment because they are that close to Russia. And they are still there. So Boris Johnson is not the only one not resigning at the moment. And the Liberals and the Greens, and I never thought I would say this, are far more serious about what has to happen towards the Ukraine in case of arms deliveries than the Social Democrats. And so I am, at the moment, absolutely ashamed of this government in my country and what they are doing. They try to solve everything with money. They say, yeah, others can give weapons and we just give the Ukraine some money, they can pay with that money then. Yeah, but they're not giving the money right now. They're saying 1 billion in June. It's just a disgrace. So now you know I had to do this on this channel as well because not many are watching my German channel, for example, because they're not generally interested in that. But that's an important part in this topic as well. And that's why I wanted to bring it up for once here as well. And have a look, please, on my community page. I posted something there about some changes about the other channels and going back to roots a little bit to the kind of videos I started with when I started my journey on YouTube on those other channels. This channel here will remain as you know it, but there will be a lot of changes on my other channels. And have a look there and have a look on the post on the community page, then you get proper information on that. And I'll see you on my next video here at least. Bis gleich.